Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about how quickly or slowly I read books. Friendly little reminder that you can now join as a member of my channel if you would like. There's a little button down below, or if you don't see it because you're on mobile or something, there is a link in the description where you can click and go see what the different tiers are and what perks come with them, and join if you would like to. So there is an app called Bookly, which you've probably heard of. Various people use it and talk about it or on Twitter and stuff. But it's basically an app where you put books on there that you're reading and you track your reading sessions, okay? You click like start session or start reading or continue reading, or I don't remember. I've done it like so many times now I forget. But yeah, you click on the book and you click continue reading, and then there's a little timer that counts as you're reading. And then when you're done with your reading session, and if you need to like pause, there's a pause button if, like, I don't know, someone starts talking to you or something happens and you have to stop reading for a minute. And then when you're done, you click stop, and then it asks you what page you read to. You type it in, and then there's that reading session. And you can see per session how many pages you read and how many pages per hour you read. And then when you're done with the book, you can see your overall average for the book. And even if you don't finish a book, you can click to see your current average, right? If you DNF a book, but you got like 50% of the way through or something, which I do have on this list. So I got this app like 2 years ago, I feel, at least a year and a half ago. But I think it was like 2 years ago or more when I saw people talking about it. And I was like, oh, that seems fun. And then I realized quickly that I don't have the patience to do that, to track. I don't care that much necessarily. But then recently I just kind of got curious about how many pages do I read in an hour? Like, how quickly do I read, or how slow do I read? I don't know. So I thought, hey, let me do a little test. Let me do a little experiment with Bookly. So that's what I did. And the books that I had read when I first got the app were still in there. So I counted them because they were there and the information was available. I just think it's interesting to see the variation. And I think genre, age range, all of that plays a part. Like if I'm reading Game of Thrones or I'm reading The Hunger Games, both are great and I love, but it's a very different reading experience. Basically, like what I'm being asked to do as a reader is very different. The level of focus needed, etc. So I'm gonna read Game of Thrones slower than I'm reading The Hunger Games, right? And then of course sometimes it might be similar, like what the reader is being asked to do might be the same, but you're just not as interested in a book, and another one you're just like eating up. And I just think it's interesting, so I wanted to see what my average was. So the older books that were from before, one was Jane Steele, which is a reimagining of Jane Eyre. So it's, I guess, historical fiction, but like a reimagined historical fiction. At any rate, I don't know what that would count as. And that book was 400 pages. I read the whole book, and my average was 72.5 pages per hour on that book. The next one was Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is, I mean, everybody knows what it is, right? It's young adult fantasy, and it was the final book in that series, and it's a chunker. That book is 980 pages, and I did read all of it. That one I read at a rate of 107.1 pages per hour. It's a much easier writing style, reading experience, but also Sarah J. Maas writes books that I just eat up. So there's that as well. Dead Until Dark by Charlaine Harris, which I reread recently again. And that book is 304 pages. I read it all. And that one I read at 81.5 pages per hour. I'm surprised that's not higher, honestly, because those books I felt like I just blew through them. Which, I mean, I guess that's high. And then this one I didn't complete, but I still saw like what the average was for what I did read, and that is From Unseen Fire by Cass Morris. I read 98 pages of that, and I read at a rate of 54.4 pages per hour. So that one I DNF'd. I was struggling. I could not get into it, clearly. It was just a lot going on. I couldn't focus on it. And I was rereading stuff, being like, what is happening right now? And it wasn't even that it was that confusing. I think I was just so bored and it was making me not able to really focus. I wasn't invested in it as I was reading it. Then The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, which I completed. That has 448 pages. I read that at a rate of 109.2 pages per hour. That one is the highest on this list. There's two more, and that one I read the quickest. And then The Queen's Poisoner by Jeff Wheeler was 330 pages. I read that recently at a rate of 100.4 pages per hour. And then this one I'm not done with yet. I'm reading it currently, and I was gonna wait until I was done, but it's a chunker, and I kind of just, I don't know, I was anxious to get this video done, I guess. But that is Valor by John Gwynne, book 2 of the Faithful and the Fallen series. I have read 88 pages so far, and thus far I've read at a rate of 65.3 pages per hour. So mostly young adult, well, not even mostly. There's adult. So 4 adult and 4, so half and half. 4 adult and 4 young adult. All fantasy except for Jane Steele. The rest is all fantasy. So a pretty good sampling of the types of books that I read. I read more adult this year, but I still read a fair amount of young adult, obviously. And I read pretty much primarily fantasy. So my average from this sampling comes to 84.34 pages per hour, which is honestly higher than I thought. I guessed that I read at a rate of about 60 pages per hour, but turns out my average is a little bit higher than that, which, I don't know, I just thought it was fun. This is probably a not fucking interesting video to anybody else, but I make the content I want to make, so here we are. But yeah, it's a really cool little app, so if you're interested or curious about how quickly or how slowly you read books, I would pick it up. And when you're done with a book, you can get this cute little infographic. I'll pop one in here. I have a couple of them that I had saved. I didn't save all of them, but I'll pop one in so you can see what it looks like, and you can like post this to social media and stuff if you care to. That is all for today. Very quick video. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.